Jewish stuff with Eitan Levine. Kapow!
Tequila.
On the street doing stuff. What you doing? Jewish stuff. What you doing? Jewish stuff. What you doing? Jewish stuff. On the street doing stuff. What you doing? Jewish stuff. What you doing? Jewish stuff. What you doing? Jewish stuff.
My mom refuses to listen to this. She doesn't like anything that I put out. My mom at one point in comedy told me that I should stop performing and just start writing my stuff for Matt. And then I know.
I booked the Tonight Show and called my mom and told her, she goes, well, we'll see if anything comes of it.
Well, the first time I did the Tonight Show, I'll never forget. I came home from California and to my apartment, and my mother left me an answering machine message. And there's so many commercials. I think it's more commercials than the show. It was very funny. That's the whole thing like that. I mean, I was like, really?
Tequila.
At Congregation General Springfield.
Springfield, Mass?
Springfield, we have to talk about this.
Springfield, New Jersey? Oh my God, Eitan!
And I went to JEC in Elizabeth.
Oh God,
Yeah.
so did I.
You went to JEC?
Well, I went to the YMYWHA.
Yeah.
This is our guest,
and
Judy
the Green
Gold.
Lake-
Yeah, I'm sorry, wait. This is Judy Gold.
Tequila.
Yes.
That's where I went. I went to camp there. I
Same.
have pictures. Where'd you grow up?
I was born in New Jersey. I was born
Where?
in Summit.
Oh,
But I left when I was 2. I grew up in the South, which it's a still very foreign thing to me when Jews from the Northeast talk about going to a camp that's not explicitly Jewish, but happens to be Jewish. Jews don't happen to gather in the South. We're too sparse and we're too afraid.
You have to gather with
Yes.
purpose. If you're going to a camp in the Y in Elizabeth, New Jersey, even
Yes.
if you aren't Jewish, like you're
No,
attending
yes,
a Jewish
yes.
school.
And it was in the 60s that I was there.
On the street doing stuff. What you doing? Jewish stuff. What you doing? Jewish stuff.
X-Men seems Jewish. It's just a bunch of people with one thing.
First of all, Magneto, a Holocaust survivor.
I didn't realize how many origin stories in film and TV have to do with the Holocaust.
You know what's so funny about the X-Men is that they also could have just not had the Holocaust happen. In this world I'm building, there's people with laser eyes, there's a dude who can fly, there's a guy with metal for hands. Don't worry though, the Holocaust still happens.
One
okay?
really blonde guy.
Yeah.
We're not going to take out the Holocaust though, are
It's
we?
like, no, we're not
can-
crazy here. Listen, there's a guy whose entire thing is that he turns into water and then he turns back up from out of water. Also, there's 6 million Jews dead still. We're keeping that in.
This is a song about Nazis. Nazis suck butts, they're the worst at everything. But there's one thing that they're real bad at in specific. You'd think because they've had so much time practicing their concentrated type of hate that they'd be prolific at conjuring the symbol that unites them. A simple emblem that's created with ease. But for some reason when it's game time, Nazis have a real hard time drawing these. Swastikas are not that hard to draw. It's just right angles and it's only 4. It's a really basic shape. There should never be mistakes. I mean, it looks just like a pinwheel. It's not hard to do a pinwheel. I have seen so many botched swastika attempts. It's astounding how creative stupid people can be. It should be clean, crisp, and sharp, but it's often just a mess, looking like Nokia snakes having sex. If you're gonna do the hate crime, you have to put in the hate time. And if you're not good at freehand, bring a stencil, you Goebbels gargling white supremacist. Swastikas are not that hard to draw. You'd absolutely be laughed out of the ghettos of Warsaw. It's such a simple design, so why can't you get it right? It looks like a blindly made IKEA table. An IKEA table made with no help or instructions. The fact that Nazis suck at this, I actually understand. Hitler was bad at art, so I guess it runs in the clan. Still, swastikas are not that hard to draw, and all Nazis deserve to get punched in the jaw. Sorry, but I digress. These are awful and grotesque, but mostly because I can't tell what they are. This looks like someone stomped a spider, or a horrible interpretive dancer, or a dolphin who thinks he's buff now. He's like, he's like showing off, but he's still really thin.
On the street doing stuff. What you doing? Jewish stuff. What you doing? Jewish stuff.
No, I appreciate you booking me on this on the coldest day of the year.
I know. Okay, wait, here we go. This is Jewish or Anti-Semitic. I am going to list for you some stuff, and I want you to tell me if it is Jewish or if it is Anti-Semitic.
Never been more ready in my life.
What has prepared you in your life for this?
My mother telling me I'm bad at everything that I do. I have a horrible IBS that makes me think a lot on the toilet.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Survivor.
Survivor, so Jewish.
Jewish. First of all, it's all we do.
100%. So much sand.
Yeah.
So much people complaining.
Yeah.
You're not sleeping well. Any Jew on television, any movie about Judaism, and just show episodes of Survivor.
Yeah, 1,000%. All they're doing is just trying to get people to complain on camera.
Yeah.
About how bad the situation is currently. The Bachelor, Jewish or Anti-Semitic?
I gotta say that's anti-Semitic to me. First of all, they're never eating. It would be fine if someone said, wow, it's been a while since we've eaten, but no one says that. They're schlepping everywhere and no one mentions it.
Yeah.
No one's like, hey, yesterday we were in the Dominican Republic and next week we're in the Exumas.
Yeah.
Maybe we sit down, have a meal, and go to sleep for a little bit.
I want the next one to have a Bachelor where there's one woman who is clearly not into this. So they're like, they announce it like, oh, we got mail, and they're like, we're going to Puerto Rico, and everyone's like, ah, and then the camera cuts to the one woman in the side just being like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Again?
We live in Calabasas now. Is that not enough?
Kia.
I remember, because I was in middle school or high school, and seeing you on Comedy Central, you were the first mainstream comic I saw talk about. You had that amazing Jewish holidays bit, and you talked about it so unabashedly.
Well, what's the bit?
I remember the bit.
And the bit was using Jewish holidays to get out of work.
To get out of work.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing
Because
bit.
no one knew, yeah.
But it was specific to Jewish culture, but accessible to someone who wasn't. And I always appreciate jokes like that. Was that new at the time?
You know, you got to be true to who you are when you do stand-up. And, you know, my whole career during the 80s and 90s, I was told to stop, you know, don't be so Jewish. I had a manager who told me to dye my hair blonde and straighten it. And I used to get it all the time. And, you know, then when I came out as a gay parent in the mid-90s, that was another layer of, you know, no one wants to hear this.
At that point where they like lean into the Jew thing.
Yeah, they
like
I don't know, I just couldn't live with myself if I wasn't honest. I definitely affected my career. Someone wrote to me last night and said, you know, I realized that you didn't wait until you're rich and famous to come out. And I'm not rich and famous now, but I couldn't be a parent. What kind of message is that? You know, my son Henry was born in 96. So what kind of message is that mommy goes on stage and doesn't talk about her family, or that we're ashamed? And it was like, no, I'm a Jew, I'm a lessee, and I'm a mom. I'm a Jewish mother, and I'm going to talk about my Jewish mother and being a Jewish mother, and no one's going to stop me.
Good Jew, bad Jew, Eitan Matthew. Tell your baby, tell your bubby, tell your Rebbe, tell your hubby good.
You know, Israel is kind of weird. Like, my sister. Is it? If we could talk about it for a second, it's a little weird.
Israel be shopping.